Newcomer AheadForm has just shaken up the robotics world in a way that nobody saw coming. In only 3 months, the company secured 2 major funding rounds. And the reason is simple. Their humanoid robots aren't just designed to move, think, or work. They're designed to feel. This isn't about another industrial humanoid lifting boxes or walking across a lab floor. This is about building a machine that can truly look back at you with emotion, respond with empathy, and even recognize itself in real time. That's not just a technical breakthrough. That's an emotional one. Welcome back, guys. Alfie here with another mind-blowing update. Emotional AI humanoid just became real with their bionic face and self-awareness. You're watching the AI Nexus. And as always, we're here to bring you every step of the future. Let's go. AheadForm, founded by Columbia University PhD. Hu Hang believes the path to mainstream adoption of humanoid robots doesn't stop at functionality. It stops at connection. And that's why their vision is resonating with investors, technologists, and even the broader AI community. They're betting everything on one bold idea. Humanoids will only succeed in society if they can form bonds, not just perform tasks. Every robotics company claims to be doing something unique, but AheadForm's framework is surprisingly clear and ambitious. They've laid out 3 core pillars that underpin their vision for humanoid empathy. First is autonomous learning. Most humanoid robots today rely heavily on pre-programmed instructions, teleoperation, or limited adaptive algorithms. AheadForm's approach is different. They've built what they call mirror self-perception, a system where the robot can build and refine its own self-model. This isn't just about recognizing an arm, a hand, or a face in a camera feed. It's about understanding itself as an entity. The EMO robot doesn't just perform pre-scripted gestures. It learns from observing its own movements, adapts, and develops a deeper sense of self-awareness, something we usually associate with living beings. Second is their emotional foundation model. This is where things get really groundbreaking. Large foundation models like OpenAI's GPT or Google's Gemini focus on text, reasoning, or multimodal understanding. AheadForm has built a foundation model explicitly around emotion. It processes multimodal data, voice, facial cues, gestures, and context to generate responses that feel natural and empathetic. Imagine a robot that doesn't just hear the words, "I'm sad," but picks up on your tone, your micro-expressions, even the slight hesitation in your voice, and then responds with genuine empathy. Not a canned, "I'm sorry to hear that," but an adaptive, emotionally aligned reply. That's what AheadForm is chasing. Third is bionic face hardware. This might sound like a small detail, but in humanoid robotics, it's often the make-or-break factor. People instinctively reject robots that fall into the uncanny valley, where something looks almost human but not quite, leaving us uncomfortable. AheadForm designed its own highly realistic bionic face with real-time expression feedback. This means when the EMO robot smiles, frowns, or raises an eyebrow, it doesn't look like a plastic mask twitching. It looks and feels human. That visual bridge is critical for trust, empathy, and ultimately, mainstream adoption. Together, these 3 pillars, self-perception, emotional modeling, and bionic expressiveness, form the backbone of AheadForm's vision, creating humanoids that don't just operate in our world, but connect with us in it. AheadForm's flagship product is called EMO, and the name couldn't be more fitting. EMO isn't designed to haul boxes, assemble cars, or replace factory workers. Instead, it's designed to be an emotional companion, a bridge between human and machine. The EMO platform uses its bionic face to project emotions in real time, paired with its emotional foundation model to interpret and respond naturally to human interaction. This combination gives it what AheadForm calls humanoid empathy value, or HEV. It's a concept that could become as important to humanoids as battery life or compute power is today. So what does that actually mean in practice? Think about customer-facing roles, retail stores, brand showrooms, or theme parks. In these environments, the difference between a functional robot and a beloved one comes down to how it makes people feel. EMO could greet visitors with a genuine smile, respond to a child's laughter with its own expression of joy, or comfort someone looking frustrated. Instead of being a cold, mechanical greeter, it could become an emotionally engaging presence. AheadForm plans to roll out Emo in exactly these kinds of settings. Internal testing is scheduled to begin later this year, and their goal is to prove that emotional connection is the key to commercial viability for humanoids. If Emo succeeds in these environments, it could open up an entirely new market segment for robotics, one that's less about labor replacement and more about emotional augmentation. But AheadForm isn't stopping with Emo. They've also unveiled a new humanoid model called Elf Xuan, which builds on their Elf project that began in 2024. The idea behind the Elf project was simple but visionary. Take the concept of virtual characters, the kind we see in animation, gaming, or even VTubing, and bring them into the physical world as real, embodied, emotionally intelligent robots. Elf Xuan represents the next major milestone in that journey. While Emo serves as a commercial empathy platform, Elf Xuan pushes further into advanced bionic robotics. It blends the emotional intelligence foundation of Emo with new design elements aimed at creating a lifelike, almost fantasy-inspired humanoid. AheadForm is positioning Elf Xuan as both a technological showcase and a potential flagship for broader cultural integration. Imagine theme parks where characters from virtual worlds are brought to life, not by actors in costumes, but by emotionally intelligent robots. The Elf project also highlights something that makes AheadForm unique. They're not just engineers, they're storytellers. They see humanoids not just as machines, but as living, breathing characters that can play roles in human society, culture, and even art. That vision resonates deeply in a world where the lines between digital and physical are blurring. So why has AheadForm attracted so much investor confidence with 2 funding rounds in just 3 months? The answer lies in differentiation. Most robotics companies are chasing industrial deployment. Boston Dynamics, Agility Robotics, Figure AI, Tesla, they're all focused on warehouse work, manufacturing, logistics, and eventually, household tasks. AheadForm, on the other hand, is going after an emotional niche that has been largely ignored. They're betting that the first robots people actually want in their lives won't necessarily be the most efficient box lifters, but the ones that feel relatable. It's a bold bet, but one that has precedent. Think about the success of social robots like Sony's Aibo or SoftBank's Pepper. Neither of these robots was particularly functional compared to industrial machines, but they succeeded in creating emotional resonance with people. AheadForm is taking that concept to the next level by fusing empathy with realistic bionics and cutting-edge AI. And let's not ignore the timing. With the rise of generative AI models capable of conversation, reasoning, and multimodal understanding, the groundwork is already laid for humanoids that can think. What's missing is the ability to emotionally connect, and that's exactly the gap AheadForm is trying to fill. One of the most intriguing aspects of AheadForm's work is their focus on mirror self-perception. This suggests their robots are capable of a form of self-modeling, where they don't just process inputs but build a dynamic sense of themselves as entities. That raises a huge question. Are we witnessing the first steps toward robotic self-awareness? Now, we have to be careful here. Self-awareness in AI doesn't mean consciousness in the human sense. It means the system can model itself, recognize its own body and actions, and adapt behavior accordingly. But when you pair that kind of self-perception with emotional modeling and lifelike expressions, you're inching closer to machines that feel, at least from the outside, like they truly understand themselves and us. This has profound implications. If humanoids can recognize themselves, adapt, and connect emotionally, society will need to grapple with new ethical and philosophical questions. Do these machines deserve rights? How do we regulate emotional AI interactions, especially with children or vulnerable groups? Could emotional manipulation become a risk? These are questions AheadForm's work will force us to confront sooner than most expected. AheadForm's roadmap seems to be starting small and scaling carefully. Emo will first be deployed in controlled environments like brand stores and theme parks, where interaction is relatively predictable and emotional engagement can be carefully measured. From there, the potential expands dramatically. Imagine Emo robots in healthcare, where elderly patients in nursing homes interact daily with companions that don't just remind them to take medicine, but share genuine warmth. Or in education, where emotionally intelligent humanoids help children learn not just facts, but social-emotional skills. Even in entertainment, robots like Elf Schwan could redefine how we experience characters, blending the digital and physical worlds in ways never seen before. If AheadForm can prove its concept in these early deployments, we could see a new category of humanoids emerge. Robots whose primary value isn't strength or efficiency, but empathy. And if that happens, they won't just compete with industrial humanoids. They'll redefine what it means to bring a robot into our lives. The robotics race has largely been framed as a battle of function. Who can build the strongest actuators? Who can run the most efficient control loops? Who can build the cheapest humanoid at scale? AheadForm is shifting that conversation. They're saying, function alone won't win. If you want humanoids to coexist with humans, you need empathy. You need a face that smiles back, a presence that feels alive, and a system that adapts not just to tasks, but to people. That's why AheadForm's rise is so significant. It's not just another startup entering the humanoid race. It's a company rewriting the rules of what matters in humanoid robotics. But while AheadForm is redefining humanoids through emotion, Figure is aiming to redefine them through intelligence. And their latest billion-dollar funding round makes it clear they're racing straight toward AGI. Figure just shocked the world by pulling in over $1 billion in Series C funding, and not just from anyone, but from some of the biggest names in tech and finance. We're talking about Parkway Venture Capital leading the round, and major players like Brookfield Asset Management, NVIDIA, Macquarie Capital, Intel Capital, Align Ventures, Tamarack Global, LG Technology Ventures, Salesforce Ventures, T-Mobile Ventures, and Qualcomm Ventures all throwing their money into the mix. With that, Figure's valuation has skyrocketed to an unbelievable $39 billion. And here's where things get even crazier. The company isn't just raising funds to expand slowly. They're hinting at something much bigger, with 3 back-to-back announcements lined up, one each day for the next 3 days. This raises the question everyone's whispering right now. Are we finally about to see Figure 03, the robot that could mark the leap into AGI-level humanoid intelligence? And if so, is Figure about to put itself ahead of Tesla, ahead of Boston Dynamics, and ahead of every single humanoid robot company on the planet? The fact that Figure raised over $1 billion in a single round isn't just about money. It's about trust and belief. The companies that invested here aren't startups chasing hype. They're some of the largest corporations on Earth. NVIDIA is powering almost every AI model running today. Intel is still a cornerstone of global computing. Salesforce, T-Mobile, Qualcomm, these companies don't casually hand out checks this large. They see something in Figure that makes them believe this isn't just a robotics company. It's the company that could redefine labor, reshape economies, and maybe even spark the first true artificial general intelligence inside a humanoid body. And let's not forget Brookfield Asset Management, which manages hundreds of billions in assets globally. They don't invest in futuristic moonshots unless they see a real chance of return. Parkway Venture Capital leading this round makes sense because Parkway has already been one of Figure's strongest backers. But the fact that this list of partners is so diverse, from hardware giants to software leaders to telecom providers, tells you everything. Everyone wants a piece of Figure's future. At a $39 billion valuation, Figure is now one of the most valuable robotics companies in the world. And here's the wild part. They've reached this valuation before even rolling out a fully commercial product. That shows the level of anticipation around Figure 03, because let's face it, nobody invests at this level unless they think the company is right on the edge of something revolutionary. Now here's the part that has the robotics industry holding its breath. Figure has 3 major announcements coming, one each day for 3 days straight. That's not a random strategy. You don't time announcements like that unless you're building momentum towards something massive. So, what could those announcements be? The first could easily be related to partnerships. With so many companies investing, NVIDIA, Intel, Salesforce, Qualcomm, it makes sense that one of the announcements will highlight how these partnerships are being integrated into Figure's roadmap. Imagine Figure robots powered by NVIDIA GPUs running the most advanced AI models, with Intel and Qualcomm handling distributed computing and Salesforce integrating humanoids into enterprise workflows. That alone would be headline-worthy. The second announcement could be tied to progress on Figure 02's deployments. We've seen Figure 2 sorting packages, folding laundry, and showing dexterity that rivals human workers. Maybe they'll announce a major customer or pilot program with a global company, perhaps in logistics, manufacturing, or retail. Given the funding, this would make perfect sense. Show investors and the world that the humanoid is already doing real-world work. But the third announcement? That's the one we need to talk about, because all signs point to Figure 03. Speculation around Figure 03 has been building for months, and now, with this billion-dollar funding round and these announcements, the timing lines up perfectly. So let's talk about what Figure 03 could actually look like. First, it's clear that Figure 02 has already set the stage. Figure 2 uses a single neural network to handle multiple real-world tasks autonomously. That's a major leap, because most humanoid robots today still rely heavily on teleoperation or task-specific coding. Figure has shown that its robots are capable of generalization, learning new tasks without being reprogrammed. That's the foundation of AGI. Now imagine Figure 03. What if it's not just faster, stronger, or more dexterous than Figure 02, but it's designed to scale human-level intelligence across thousands of units? Figure's own words tell us where they're aiming. They've said, "We're full throttle to human-level intelligence." That's not marketing fluff, that's a roadmap. If Figure 03 is announced, it could be the first humanoid built from the ground up with AGI in mind. That means a brain-like architecture that integrates perception, reasoning, and action in real time. Advanced hands capable of manipulating objects with human-level precision. Hardware optimized to run massive AI models directly on device, with NVIDIA and Intel likely playing a huge role. Cloud integration through Salesforce and T-Mobile, meaning Figure robots could share intelligence across networks instantly. This wouldn't just be a humanoid robot, it would be a platform for intelligence, where every single Figure robot contributes to a collective brain, making the system smarter with every task. The bigger question is whether Figure is now openly racing to AGI before anyone else. Tesla has made huge progress with Optimus, but Elon Musk has been cautious about calling it AGI. Boston Dynamics has world-class locomotion, but their robots are still focused on industrial and research applications. Companies like 1X, Sanctuary AI, and Unitree are pushing boundaries, but none of them are positioned with this much capital, this many strategic partnerships, and this clear of a vision for human-level intelligence. If Figure 03 is truly aiming at AGI, then we're witnessing the beginning of the most important race in technology. Think about it. Whoever builds the first humanoid robot that can learn and reason like a human instantly becomes one of the most powerful companies on Earth. That robot wouldn't just replace labor, it could become the foundation of entirely new industries. And with $1 billion in fresh funding, Figure has the resources to scale at a speed we haven't seen in robotics before. Manufacturing humanoid robots is expensive. Training large-scale AI models is even more expensive. But with this funding and these partnerships, Figure is positioned to do both simultaneously. A $39 billion valuation might sound like just a number, but it tells us a lot about where investors think Figure is headed. Compare that to OpenAI, which hit valuations north of $80 billion based on ChatGPT's success. Now think about combining OpenAI-level AI intelligence with a humanoid robot body. That's the vision Figure is selling, and it's why investors are lining up. At this valuation, Figure is being treated not as a robotics startup, but as a future platform company, one that could rival Apple, Google, or Tesla in impact. The humanoid robot itself is just the beginning. The real value is in the intelligence, the data, and the network effects that come from deploying thousands of humanoids across industries. But here's the big challenge. Building a humanoid that can work is one thing. Deploying thousands into real-world environments is another. That's where Figure's partnerships come into play. With Brookfield involved, they could pilot robots in large-scale real estate and infrastructure projects. With T-Mobile, connectivity is covered. With Salesforce, humanoids could be integrated into enterprise systems to handle logistics, data entry, and customer-facing roles. And with NVIDIA and Intel, the computing backbone is solid. This ecosystem is what sets Figure apart. They're not just building a robot, They're building an entire stack that integrates AI, hardware, cloud, and industry partnerships. That's why the $1 billion matters so much. So, let's answer the question directly. Is Figure 03 the first AGI robot? If Figure 03 is unveiled with capabilities beyond what Figure 02 has shown, and if those capabilities include reasoning, learning, and generalization at a human-like level, then yes, it could be the first robot to truly earn the AGI label. Of course, AGI itself is still a debated term. Some define it as human-level intelligence across all tasks, while others say it means flexible learning across many domains. Figure seems to be targeting the latter, practical AGI that can perform a wide range of useful tasks in the physical world. And here's the kicker. Even if Figure 03 isn't full AGI yet, the trajectory they're on makes it clear that's the end game. They're not aiming for narrow AI in robots. They're aiming for intelligence that can rival human workers, and they're moving faster than anyone else. The real question isn't whether Figure 03 is the first AGI robot. The real question is whether society is ready for what that means. If robots can truly think and learn like us, then everything about work, economics, and even daily life is going to change. The companies investing in Figure clearly believe that future is close, maybe closer than anyone expected. And now, with 3 days of announcements ahead, the world is about to find out just how close we are. So stay tuned, because whether Figure 03 is officially revealed or not, one thing is undeniable. Figure has just positioned itself at the very front of the race to AGI-powered humanoids, and the next few days could mark the start of a whole new chapter in human history.